Putin's nuclear chicken game in Ukraine may start. Chernobyl 2.0. Ukrainian and Russian officials have accused each other of what each side calls acts of terrorism after a series of explosions shook the Ukrainian nuclear power plant, which is occupied by Russian military forces in Zaporozhye on the Dnieper River. The nuclear power plant in Zaporozhye has 6 reactors and generates more than 1/5 of Ukraine's national electricity needs during normal operation. It is also the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that Russian troops shelled the plant and called the action an act of terror in a published statement on Telegram. This is the largest nuclear power plant on our continent, and any shelling of this facility is an open, brazen crime, an act of terrorism, Zelensky said. Russia should bear responsibility for the very fact of creating a threat to nuclear power plants, he added. However, the Russian military claimed that a Ukrainian artillery strike was responsible, stating that Ukrainian artillery fired 20 rounds at the town of Energodar and the power plant. They called it an act of nuclear terrorism. Fortunately, the Ukrainian shells did not hit the oil and gas complex and the oxygen plant nearby, thus avoiding a larger fire and a possible radiation accident, the Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement. Fire risks near one of the reactors at the Zaporozhye complex in Ukraine. At around 2:30 p.m. on Friday, several explosions destroyed power lines, posing an immediate threat to the plant. The station's engineers were then forced to reduce the power of one of the 6 nuclear reactors on the site. 3 more explosions rocked an auxiliary building near one of the nuclear reactors hours later, raising the risk of a hydrogen leak and fire, Ukraine's state nuclear company Energodom said. At the time of the explosions, 3 reactors were operating, 2 were on standby, and 1 was undergoing routine maintenance and repairs, according to Ukrainian officials. Although the plant is occupied by the Russian military, it is still run by Ukrainian nuclear engineers. Energodom said that after the first attack, not a single release of radioactive materials was recorded. However, after the second attack, where the explosions damaged an auxiliary building in a specialized station, the company said that the risk of fire was high. The United Nations International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, said it is aware of the reports and is gathering more information about the situation. Rafael Grossi, head of the IAEA, said earlier this week that the station was completely out of control. Russian troops used the plant as a base for an attack on Ukraine. The Russian military is using a nuclear power plant to carry out artillery strikes against Ukrainian targets without fear of retaliation. The Ukrainian military has often said they cannot fire back without risking safety equipment, reactors, or spent fuel storage. This was confirmed by the UK Department of Defence in its daily intelligence assessment. The UK said Russian forces probably undermined the security of the station and are using the area to launch strikes on the western side of the Dnieper River, taking advantage of the nuclear power plant's protected status to reduce the risk of nighttime attacks from Ukrainian forces. Earlier this week, U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken accused Moscow of using the station as a nuclear shield for its troops at the facility. The Ministry of Ukraine stated that the possible consequences of getting into an operating reactor are equivalent to using an atomic bomb. Russian officials in Energodar said Ukrainian forces fired on the plant twice on Friday from the opposite bank of the Dnieper. For the second time, the nationalists managed to hit the target. Shells fell on the industrial site of the plant, they said in a statement. Energodom's statement on the Telegram channel app said Russia was responsible for 2 separate incidents. The Russian military has again resorted to provocation, the company said.